Very long day for everyone, isn't it? So I'm trying to keep it lighthearted, but unfortunately, post-quantum is not something that is lighthearted. I don't expect, so I need to set some expectations. Don't expect to learn about post-quantum in this 25 minutes. I'm not going to be able to create magic out of this thing. What I hope to do is to share with you what's happening, and also let you guys understand, some of the points that you need to Google. So if you get my slides and then you want to know what to Google, there are a lot of words inside there. You Google for them, and then from there you try to figure out what is happening. Because I think that that's the best way to share over 25 minutes without trying to make all of you fall asleep, and also I fall asleep. If you need slides, just drop by. We have a booth down there. You can drop by, leave your email, or you can connect me on LinkedIn, or you're already connected to me on LinkedIn. Just send me a note just to say, please send me slides to this email address. I will send it to you. All right. So unless you're willing to wait, the good videographers, they will do this thing and publish it online. But meanwhile, you can get the slides. So my talk today will be about two parts. The first part is about some brief public key cryptography plus post-quantum cryptography, which you might have seen. And the second part will be the updates itself. So some introduction. My name is Teik Guan. I run a startup called PQCEE. We have a little booth at the Post-Quantum Village there. You can go and try and see some of our products. We are building quantum-safe products for the future. So without further ado, what are we talking about in quantum side of things? Well, quantum computing, maybe 5 years, 8 years, some people say 10 years. And with it comes a lot of good and some bad, right? The good is that we're going to get better, faster processing in terms of process management, trying to do optimizations, being able to even do product discovery. Maybe we can find new drugs that we currently cannot do. Unfortunately, that speed up that quantum computers bring also speeds up some of the things we thought cannot be sped up, like cryptography. So a lot of the traditional hard problems in cryptography, like integer factorization, discrete log, unfortunately can be sped up. And this speed up means that a lot of your current applications, your VPNs, your secure email, your IoT, even your PDF document signing, all these can be compromised. And this is a bad thing. Well, the good thing is that it's not happening yet. The bad thing is it will happen. So that's where it is. In fact, it's not a bad thing, right? It keeps us all in the job, right? So in the next 5 years, we are still in the job. So good thing, always good thing. So let's look at really the threat model here. As we talk about quantum, quantum security, we always have to talk about two different algorithms: Shor's algorithm and Grover's algorithm. I've used this slide quite a few times, so maybe you have seen it as well. But for the benefit of those who are hearing it for the first time, what are the two possible ways to compromise current cryptography? These are the two algorithms that are run on quantum computers. Shor's algorithm, unfortunately, is the scary one. Okay, Shor's algorithm is able to make integer factorization and discrete log problems, which assume to be millions of years, take millions of years to solve, become a matter of hours or days. That's bad, right? The other is Grover's algorithm, which is more a brute force search algorithm, is able to speed up searching. Not so much in the extent of Shor's, but for certain areas where they can try to speed up some searching, it does speed up, but not to a point to be able to compromise certain cryptography. What you want to understand about Shor's algorithm is that if there's anything that is 128-bit and below, don't use anymore. Okay, so don't use triple dash. I mean, you shouldn't be using triple dash, but don't use like AES 128. Try not to use. You can use AES 128. There is a misconception that people say AES 128 is bad. Under the NIST definition, AES 128 security is actually quantum safe level 1. So they actually recognize that AES 128 is not so bad. But try not to use it because people think that AES 128 will get weakened to a point that it's not usable. But if you use AES 256, that's good enough. Because AES 256, even with the most optimized Grover's algorithm, will become 128-bit security, which is well accepted that it's not breakable, right? So not intractably breakable, so you're fine with it. So AES 256, SHA 256 and above, you're fine. That's for Grover's algorithm. What is the underlying threat that actually happens. Let's go into a bit of Alice and Bob. Huh? So from an encryption standpoint, we have Alice sending a message to Bob, and Bob has a private key, which he shares the public key with Alice. Right, and then typically what happens is that then Alice then performs what we call hybrid encryption, where she generates a AES session key to encrypt the data. Then she uses the Bob's public key to encrypt the AES session key. Right, this is a standard way of doing it. It is still being practiced today and very relevant. Unfortunately, when Eve, the eavesdropper, comes in with a quantum computer, what happens? Well, the threat is as follows. Given the public key, Eve can actually calculate Bob's private key. Okay, that's really the thing. And Eve uses Shor's algorithm to calculate the private key. Whether you're using RSA, you're using Diffie-Hellman, you're using ECC or ECDH, it's going to break, because Eve now can calculate Bob's private key from the public key. This is something you assume to be not possible. With the speed up from quantum computers, very possible, and it's a problem. If you want to understand a bit more, come to our booth behind. But basically, with the private key, then all hell break loose, right? I mean, Eve can literally look and see anything there is, and this is typically what we call the harvest now, decrypt later problem, right? So even data that's encrypted today, if Eve is a very patient lady, not all ladies are patient, but if Eve is a very patient lady and keeps the data for the next 10 years, she can use a quantum computer 10 years later to break that data. All right, so this is the threat model for confidentiality. For integrity and authentication, it's a little different. Right? So Alice again sending a message to Bob, and Bob wants to know it's from Alice. Bob wants to know that the message definitely came from Alice and was never modified along the way. Along comes Mallory, who is going to change the message. Mallory, again, given the public key, can calculate Alice's private key. Oops, this is where the problem happens, because now if someone else has your private key, someone else can just basically impersonate as you, send any message that he or she wants, and Bob cannot tell the difference. Okay, so once that happens, even if Alice does something and Bob says, no, I received something from you, and Bob cannot tell. Once Bob cannot tell the difference, whether it came from Mallory or came from Alice, then digital signatures are unfortunately broken. Okay, what's the impact of this? You have a lot of PDF documents that were signed and stored in your archive, and you think that those were good, and you have the proof of originality. Unfortunately, when a quantum computer becomes iffy, right? I mean, the law might say, no, it doesn't work anymore. And this is a problem. So these are the two basic threats that you are going to see, both one on the confidentiality, one on the authenticity, that we already know. This is not rocket science. I didn't invent this. This is well known. And we understand how it's going to happen. It's a matter of when it's going to happen, because quantum computers currently are not powerful enough to do it. We currently only do very, very small key sizes. That as quantum technology matures and gets better and better, and you start to hear things like 2,000 logical qubits, 3,000 logical qubits, that is when you have to start get worried. Okay, so but not today, but there are problems, and you figure out. So this is the background of where we are, and this is what we understand. From this point on, then I'm going to try to do some updates. And unfortunately, the updates are going to be quite a lot, and they're all very, very wordy. Yeah? So I'm trying to cover some of the important points. Some I may skip. If you want to know more, if we have time, we ask questions. If not, look for me behind the booth and we talk more. So the first thing that everyone always lists about is NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technologies. These are the good guys in US, and they are coming up with new standards on what are the algorithms to be used to replace RSA, ECC, Diffie-Hellman. What have they done? They have come up with actually three here. They have already FIPS standard. So if you want to know the FIPS standard, FIPS stands for Federal Information Processing Standard. It's a US standard, and if you want to know how to implement, what are the steps to implement it, it's actually available. So there is already Kyber, Dilithium, and Sphinx Plus. The official name is MLKEM, MLDSA. Wow, start to get hard to remember. But they are already very 90%, over 90% standardized. NIST, in the most recent announcement at the ETSI conference last week, said it's coming out in summer 2024. Summer will not probably June, July. It won't go past August or September. So it's going to be very soon. They're going to be announcing 3 FIPS standards that's coming out. And if you are a developer and you want to implement it, wow, go to openquantumsafe.org, free implementation. You just go use it, take it, run it. It's already there. Okay, that's great. These NIST guys are fantastic. Okay, so this is the good news. The unfortunate, nasty news is that they didn't say that these are the only 3 algorithms they're going to choose. In fact, they have chosen 4 algorithms. There is Falcon. Okay, there is a Falcon algorithm, which is for signing, that they haven't standardized yet. They haven't got a chance to standardize because it's very much more complicated. It has slightly smaller signature sizes, but because it's a floating point operator, it's much more difficult to define the parameters. So they haven't done it yet. And again, if you think that there are only 4 new algorithms, wait again. There are still around 4 evaluation of encryption. Okay, bear in mind that Kyber, Dilithium, Sphinx Plus, and Falcon have 3 signature algorithms and 1 key encapsulation algorithm. They might be choosing 1 more. Okay, would it be McAleese? This would be a new word that you start to learn. Oh, is it going to be McAleese? We don't know. Okay, and will it come out? When will it come out? We also don't know. But they are doing round 4. But wait, there's more. There is another round 1 additional signatures that's being run as well. And there are another 61 different algorithms inside there. They're trying to they're going to shrink it down to 15 and they're going to choose, maybe they choose 1 or 2 more. So you start to realize that, suddenly the number of algorithms is not as little as you think. And it's not as straightforward as you think to implement. So this is starting to become a very complicated thing. Just understanding from an algorithm perspective, there's so many options. Okay? And in fact, even within the algorithms itself, there's even more complicated stuff. There is now this differential between key encapsulation and key exchange. Last time we always use it very loosely, key exchange algorithm, key encapsulation algorithm. And you realize that they currently only can do key encapsulation. There's a main difference. Key exchange means it's like Diffie-Hellman. Party A generate a part, party B generate a part, put together, and both parties contribute to the final session key. That's key exchange. Key encapsulation is Alice generates the session key, give it to Bob. Bob uses the session key. Okay, so it's an encapsulation. It's a one-way thing. Some protocols expect key exchange, don't expect key encapsulation. Okay, got difference, And some people don't like key encapsulation, but unfortunately, in this whole list, there is no key exchange. So will there be more algorithms? I don't know. But that is a problem as well. The second is a bit more in the hashing. There's a pure hash and pre-hash. Oh, how to go into that? I leave this to homework that you all can read. If you want to read more, follow this group. If you want the latest, you want to go to your colleagues and boast that you know the latest that NIST is doing, just go read this group. Okay, follow this group. It's a you have to subscribe. You read it, you get updates every week, every day, and then you read and you know what they're thinking, why pure versus pre-hash. These are things that they start to go and understand what is post-quantum. If you want to sound very smart, please go follow this group. If you want these slides, again, email me on this thing. Okay, so you think that, wow, done already. NIST have done the hard work. Then you realize that no, actually it's just the tip of the iceberg because there is something called CNSA now. Okay, this is what is getting all the current cryptographic vendors, the big vendors, excited. CNSA, or Commercial National Security Algorithms, is a standard published by the US government for their national security suite. That means that if you want to sell to the White House, you want to sell to FBI, you want to sell to CIA, you must follow this standard. And the standard says that if you want to sell to me, Here is the deadline that you have to comply to, and these are the algorithms that I'm going to support. Okay, so bear in mind, they're saying that, oh, I have 2 hash-based signatures, I have AES 256, bear in mind, no 128, AES 256. SHA-2384, SHA-2512, and FIPS 203, 204. Don't have 205. Although NIST says 205, CNSA says no 205. And it must be level 5. So what are the things to take note of? Well, first of all, hybrid. I will talk a bit more about hybrid later. But what NSA is saying is that NSA has the confidence in the CNSA 2.0 algorithms and will not require developers to use hybrid certificates. The reason why I'm reading this is because the next slide got something that will break this thing, but this is one thing. Second thing, there is no SHA-3. If you are a blockchain developer, you're using catch-up, it's all SHA-3. CNSA say no SHA-3. They might loosen it, but at this moment, if you implement SHA-3 in your algorithms, it's not CNSA compliant. You cannot sell to White House, blah, 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 everything. Okay? SCON is a lightweight encryption algorithm, also standardized by NIST, not inside. And one more thing, no QKD. So I just introduced now this the notion of quantum key distribution using light photonics in order to do a key exchange. NSA in the website says NSA does not recommend the usage of quantum key distribution and quantum cryptography for securing the transmission of data in NSS unless the limitations, and the limitations are usage and everything here, are addressed. So, and CNSA is saying follow these algorithms if you want to sell to me, and these are the points. And bear in mind, it's quite scary because if you look at this, the first line, code signing, start by 2025. Hey, that's next year, you know. Next year, they want you to start code signing, post-quantum code signing. Hey, the FIPS 203 not even published yet, it's still in draft. They want you to start implementing by 2025 and exclusively use CNSA 2.0 in 2030. This word is very key again, exclusively. Why? I will come back to you. So there are others as well. They talk about using web browsing for networking, for operating systems, for custom applications. They've covered quite a lot of things inside there. Go read this document. I provided the link here. Go read this document. If you want to justify why you want to do some R&D, this is the best document to justify why you want to start post-quantum, because it actually specifies dates on when this has to happen. But if you think that, again, your problem is solved, no, let's look at Germany, because US is not the rest of the world, right? There is Germany. And if you look at the Germany standard, they have these two documents. Go ahead and read them. I pointed out a few things. And this is the thing that I want to point out. Okay? It says very clearly here, quantum resistant methods should not be used alone, at least in the transitional period, but only in hybrid mode. So Germany is saying cannot exclusively use post-quantum algorithm. You must use in hybrid. And if we go back to the US one, it says exclusively use post-quantum algorithm. So if you have a product that you want to sell to US and Germany, you need different versions. I mean, okay, this is the challenge. They're starting to realize that these are issues. Germany has also openly said that these are the algorithms they like. McAleese, Frodo, XMSS, LMS. Notice that these don't sound familiar. It doesn't sound like what I introduced in the earlier. Okay, these were a lot more conservative. Their key sizes are bigger. Their cryptograms are bigger. NIST didn't choose them because of operational and speed reasons. But Germany says, I like them. Wow. So you got different algorithms. So you have a system that connects US and Germany. Which algorithm you use? I don't know, so you have to go figure it out. Okay, so point to note, must use hybrid. Must use hybrid. That's what Germany says. And most of Europe is following the same thing. Must use hybrid. Second thing, they are willing to consider PQC, post-quantum cryptography, plus QKD. And they even tell you the architecture for how to combine these two together. When NSA said don't use QKD. So you are starting to see these differences in opinions by the different jurisdictions. France has their own, the Swedish have their own, and everyone is starting to come out with little differences. And these little differences are going to impact your implementation of your solutions, especially when you're interconnected to many of them. Okay? Difficult. Start to get very, very difficult. And then, you know, your nightmares don't end here, right? Of course. My talk got some more. Let's go into IETF. IETF is the Internet Engineering Task Force, which comes up with a lot of standards related to how your protocols are going to be used on the internet. The great thing, the first thing they did, which is fantastic, the RFC 8784, if you are implementing IPsec VPNs, IKE 2.0, IKE version 2, and you want to put in post-quantum security inside there through a pre-shared key, they have published the standard. Wow, great. This is one thing that they have done quite well. You can find vendors actually already supporting it, which nicely done. The second thing which they are struggling with, and I alluded to it earlier, is the word hybrid. They have a whole document just to define what hybrid is. Because hybrid, if you heard about hybrid over the last 3 years, it's been changing. It's been changing. In fact, last week it still changed again. I was at RSA conference and there was a NIST guy on stage and they said, NIST, can you please release a document to define the word hybrid? Okay, so I cannot tell you I cannot tell you what happens beyond today. But as of today, hybrid means that if there are we're going to combine two algorithms or two or more algorithms. They can be two post-quantum, one traditional, it can be PQ-PQ, it can be PQT. So you can have post-quantum, two post-quantum algorithms combined together. It can be post-quantum traditional algorithms combined together, or it can even be three combined together. These are all hybrid. And hybrid means all algorithms must be used. Okay, it's not an option. All must be used. I'll come back to this again. It can be a combination of and hybrid, bear in mind, it can be key establishment or for signing. For key establishment, we are quite clear that you basically have two different negotiations happening and use that to derive a final session key to be used. That's a hybrid. That's a hybrid implementation. There is something called composite and non-composite. It starts to get very dicey. So it has to do with how they store the key. Okay, so I just give you a flavor of it. You know, in your certificate, there's only one place for public key, right? There's only one extension, X509, there's only one extension for public key. In a composite implementation, they concatenate the two public keys together in the same field. In a non-composite implementation, they have two different fields for the implementation. And they do it because there are some pattern claims on stuff and some backward compatibility issues here and there. So there are things like composite, non-composite. If you try to read the IETF standard, you will fall asleep because I read it 3 times, I still don't understand what it is. That's the struggle. And then they finally came out with the interoperability, which breaks the entire hybrid thing because interoperability says you don't have to use all, just use one. So suddenly, after they tell you you must use all, and then they introduce interoperability that you now can only use one, which that's why it's still a draft. No one, they haven't figured out what to do. But let me explain. This is the challenge now. Just because we found the algorithm doesn't mean we know how to get it done. Okay, and these are going to be the challenges going forward. Okay, why, how, we don't know. And if you want to be part of this history-making kind of document, history-making kind of thing, please participate because I'm very sure in 5 years' time, when someone wants to participate, too bad, too late already. It's all cast in stone. So this is a time when you guys are in this very, very opportunistic time to be able to influence certain new standards, influence certain very, very groundbreaking standards, and you can do this kind of thing here. So back closer to home. Closer to home, we have 2 standards as well. Not too bad. So IMDA has come out with a standard. It's not really a security standard. It's more of an interoperability standard to say for what quantum key distribution network. So if you have a QKD deployment, quantum key distribution, you have quantum photonics deployment, they have a standard. They have a reference specification for it that says how to set up and everything. And it was published, I think, last year. And wow, we also have standards. Not too bad on how to implement this, and they're using this document in order to implement the new National NQSN, National Quantum Safe Network Plus, NQSN Plus, that is pushed by both Singtel as well as SPTel. Okay, so this is the standard by IMDA. And finally, MES also came out with a standard, but not so much telling you what can be done or what cannot be done. I think this is by far one of the most balanced documents that I've read. It is a guideline to tell you certain things about what are the risks in quantum, what are things you have to take care of, and what you should do. Okay, so what are the things you should do? I think it's very good advice, so please follow them. One, please monitor developments, raise the awareness of risk to your management, to your vendors, that your management starts to know that there is risk involved in quantum. How do you quantify, how do you measure it, how do you prepare for it? At least they start to understand it. Very reasonable. Second, start to inventorize your assets, prioritize the ones that are important, because when something bad happens, you know how to pull out that document and start doing something. Okay, but let's not overdo this whole inventorization, because we know that quantum may be coming in 10 years, 5 years, 10 years. Some of your systems that may be end of life in the next 2 years, probably not so crucial to do it, right? And then the last one, which is very, very strategic, is really about developing strategies and maintaining and building capabilities. Because one of the things that we realize, if this talk hasn't floated up, is that there are not enough people understanding quantum. There are not enough people following this whole technology and getting it there. And if you run an organization where you need to protect against the quantum-enabled hackers, you better have someone on your side being able to tell you what to do. And without building that team, if you're going to try to hire, good luck to you. McKinsey says that by 2025, 1 out of every 2 quantum jobs will not be filled. That is how bad it is. And if you want to start, then you better start building capability within your own organization. At least start getting a bit of experience in working on the quantum, whether rightly or wrongly. It's just getting that experience, and that itself is, in itself is a very, very important step that you can do. The great thing about MES, I felt, was that they didn't tell you focus on certain algorithms. I think they're mindful that the algorithms may be changing, standards may be changing, protocols may be changing, but building capability, understanding risk is probably your first priority. I think that's a very, very balanced topic, and really, really applaud them for this thing. So this is what it is. So last few slides here, there are still outstanding issues. Just when you think everything is solved, there are still outstanding issues. 2 things that you can already be clear of. There are technical limitations in some of the solutions. If you're talking about your smart cards, your passports, all these kind of low IoT, those are low resource IoT devices, they're not going to be able to run your post-quantum crypto very well. They're going to struggle. You have bandwidth issues, you have CPU issues, you have storage, RAM issues that come into play. How are we solving it? Don't know yet, okay? Second thing, there are actually applications that cannot move to post-quantum crypto. They're actually stuck. It was never designed to move. Cryptography was never designed to be broken. When we design, everyone says that it's secure for the next million years, right? Not my problem already, a million years later. Then they realized that, alamak, 5 years later, my problem still. And this is one of the areas we go. So, for example, blockchains, right? So blockchains use ECDSA, and this is sharing a bit of the work that my startup is doing. So ECDSA features very much in blockchains, your Ethereum, your Bitcoins, and it's used a lot, not just in the transaction, but the key generation itself. Even your wallet address is a hash of the public key. So it uses cryptography in more than just the transaction signing itself. And if you are going to change the algorithm, if you're going to move to a hybrid, or you're going to move to a new PQC algorithm, a lot of things will break. Your wallet address, the public key changes, your public key change, your wallet address change, and then everything within your applications change, right? If you're implementing things like soul-bound tokens, you have your smart contracts tied to your wallet addresses, all gone, have to be recompiled. So these are the kind of nightmarish scenarios that they're starting to realize. This is a sharing of how we are doing it through zero-knowledge proofs. I shall not bore you with this, but next steps. So for next steps, as individuals, please go read up cryptography, go read up quantum, we have a little blog, qcv.org/blog. Go there, go read it up. My startup is, we're exploring, working with IHLs to even come up with some quantum courses that can help organizations as well. And for organizations, I think the MES circular really says it all, so I don't have to repeat it. follow what they're saying. I think they are amazing in what they have done. Okay, so I hope I have some time for questions. My email is here. If you want to have the slides, you can email me. I just one, very stingy one. But anyway. Question? Yes?
I know for some industry, for example, telecommunication or auto industry, people are talking about this because they have studied for decades, and in general, like they are difficult to upgrade.
Yeah.
But look at the web or like application of phones, and it seems to me that this application is not as difficult to upgrade as compared to those industries in general. So my question is, do you see that other industry, and the multiple telecommunication industry, they need to take action now, or like they can do a smooth transition to this post-quantum?
I almost wouldn't recommend you start doing a big bang, big migration right now, because the reality, as we understand, the algorithms are not yet cast in stone. Okay, you implement anything today, and put aside all the crypto agility thing, whatever you do today may not be relevant or may not be even the accepted thing in 2 years' time. I think what they have done and what the industry is doing is taking what we call baby steps, trying to do pilots, getting some easy wins, quick wins. You mentioned that those that are upgraded on the web is easy, right? We have already some messaging apps announced that they become post-quantum. I think Zoom also just announced that they can do post-quantum. Right, so I believe they are not specifically doing it as a very major concern, but it is a way to get experience in doing it. That if tomorrow I have to implement post-quantum, I want my team to have that experience. Whether I have done a successful project or failed project, at least we have done it. We know what are the challenges, we know what are the steps that needs to be done. So they themselves are probably doing tiny projects as well. If you are in the telecom industry or in the automotive industry, which is likely going to take a long time to try to figure out how to do migration, trying to follow that same steps to migrate crypto is probably not the way to go. But getting your team to be experienced in working on certain post-quantum projects, even though they may not be related, but even working on that gives them the experience and confidence in order to tackle something bigger. That would be how I say they are probably going at it. Don't go and jump and replace something right now, because that is quite scary. Okay? Very stingy as well. Thank you very much. I'll be over at the booth there if you want more questions, or email me if you have the slides. All right, thank you.